And now I want to welcome back to Forever Blueshirts, Mollie Walker, who covers the Rangers for the New York Post. Mollie, how are you doing?
Oh, pretty good. How are you, Steven?
Good. So Louis Domingue. It is November 9th, and Louis Domingue and Dylan Garand are the Rangers goaltenders. Was this in the cards for Chris Drury and Peter Laviolette when you started this year?
Definitely not, but the signing of Louis Domingue was in preparation for this sort of situation. So I think you kind of have to give your hats off to Jury for that, to lock Domingue down for 2 years. He's been marinating in Hartford. And he's just a guy that, not a lot of third string goalies in the NHL have as much experience as he does. So I think this is, you know, it's a pressing situation because of who Igor Shesterkin is and who Jonathan Quick is and who Quick has been so far this season. But it is early days in the season. Better for them to be working out these kinks now in November rather than February or March. So I think nobody's pressing the panic button, but it's not the most ideal situation, obviously.
Oh, no, not at all. Staying on that topic of injury and not an ideal situation, Adam Fox and Philip Hedl both out. Fox looks like a little bit longer than Hedl. What have you heard about both of their recovery times?
Well, both players haven't skated yet, so I don't believe that bodes well for Philip Hedl's return. The shortest amount of time that he could have possibly missed. I believe that he's eligible to return in Sunday's game against Columbus. I don't expect that to happen simply because he hasn't even started skating yet. It's unclear if it's a concussion sort of situation, which is obviously something that he's dealt with for a majority of his career. But yeah, it's not the best of situations, but again, it's early. So if this is going to happen at any point in the season, it's better off happening now. And this way they can figure out any sort of reinforcements that they might need, all the sorts of things that go into overcompensating for not having Adam Fox, having Eric Gustafsson get acclimated on the first power play, which has not been a horrible transition at all, as well as his transition to playing alongside Ryan Lindgren and the very important minutes that pairing plays as well. So I think it's definitely preparing for the long run. I think so. It's not the best, but better to happen now than later.
Well, I'm glad you bring up Eric Gustafsson. Just his presence in the absence of Adam Fox, it almost seems like he's kind of embraced some sort of next man up mentality.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I thought that even the game when Fox left and Gustafsson slot right onto the first power play in it, he had a lot of jump in his step, and that's understandably so for a guy who is a power play contributor. And for him to get an opportunity with that group in particular, I'm sure was very exciting for him. So I think that he's done well slotting into that spot. I think that Peter Laviolette has a lot of trust in Eric Gustafsson, which might not bode well for someone like Zach Jones, but I think that it gives Peter Laviolette some peace of mind in how he's rearranging things and the decisions that he's making to fill in for Adam Fox. So I think that Gustafsson is one of the most NHL caliber guys that the Rangers have had in that left side spot on the bottom pair in a few years, which has been really exciting to see. And I just feel like he brings a different element to the back end that we haven't really seen this core have. He just plays a much different game. He's constantly moving. He's got so much life to his game. And it's really fun to watch, but I do say so myself. I think it was a huge pickup for the Rangers, especially at the price point that they got him. That's definitely something that Chris Drury should be patting his back on about.
Well, just really quickly, you did mention Zach Jones. What do you make of him, of his play so far? Obviously, the assist, and then the flip side is being on the ice for 3 goals against Detroit. Just what have you made of his brief time with the Rangers so far this year?
Yeah, it's definitely been a bit of a mixed bag. But in talking to Zach Jones, he has a completely different attitude than he had last season. It seems. I think that he came into this season prepared for the role that he was going to have to play, knowing that he wasn't going to be in the lineup every night, knowing that his first chance was probably not going to come until an injury arose, especially considering training camp that Zach Jones Gustafson competition never really materialized. So I think it was something that he was prepared for, and I think it has shaped his mindset, and it's been a very good mindset. So I think that been a bit of a mixed bag. The Jones Schneider pairing has had a couple of rough games, a couple of rough sequences. But I do think that their most recent game, they were pretty decent. So I think that it's definitely a starting point that they can build off of. But I know that maybe people would like to see some changes with the D pairs, but that just goes back to Laviolette's trust and preference for Gustafson. If anybody's going to be getting those major minutes, it's going to be Gustafson and Lindgren. So it all makes sense where Laviolette has taken it.